This is the Pickleball Scorekeeper. Here the user starts with two options where they can either play a game or they can view rankings. For this example, we will start by playing a game. Here the user inputs two team names. These are used as the keys in the database to track the ELO score, and as it changes, they are used to retrieve it and to store it. For this example, we will use the Eagles and the Pandas. Once we hit play, the server is displayed. It is determined using a random function, but it will always start with number 2 beside it because that's the number of the server, and in Pickleball it always starts with the second server for the first round. So if the Eagles win this point, their score increases by 1. But if they lose, the score does not change, but it moves to the Pandas' first server. If the Pandas win, then their score increases now that they're the server. If they lose, it'll move to the Pandas' second server. If they win, they get another point. Lose, the serve returns back to the Eagles. And the game just continues on like this, just going until one team eventually reaches 11 points. At this point, the screen display switches, and now it'll show the winner and their name, and then also each team name and their new ELO score. This score is determined using a series of functions that takes into account both the previous score and their new score. So in this example, because the Pandas won, their score would increase and the Eagles would decrease. The baseline for this is 1500, and as I'll show later, that is where new teams are introduced at. A feature that I don't have that could be added here would be an option to return to the main menu. But because I don't have that feature, we will run this program again. Now we will go to the view rankings option. This takes a second to load because I used a bubble sort function. A more efficient sort function would be a way to improve this program and reduce that wait time. Here, all of the teams that are in the database are displayed in order. As you can see, the highest ELO scores are at the top and the lowest are at the bottom. And right around that baseline in the middle is that 1500 value. Because you cannot see them all, I have the option to search for teams. So for this one, we will search for the Lions because they're just off the screen at the bottom there. Once they're searched, they're printed here, and then the user can search again for a different one, or if they want to, again, there should be a button there, but they can also just return home. Another example, we can also add new teams if a new team is introduced. So let's say the Dolphins are introduced as a new team that are not already in the database. You can just add them here by inputting a new team name, and we'll have them play the Cheetahs. The same functions take place here with the server winning or losing, but I want to show in Pickleball, the server must win by 2. So if it's tied at 10 and then the Cheetahs win another point, that would bring them to 11, but because they're not winning by 2, they're not declared the winner, and the program will not move to the next screen. It carries on like this until one team eventually wins by 2, in this case, the Cheetahs. Once again, the new ELO scores, and as we can see, the Dolphins were a new team in this database. So their baseline was set at 1500 when they were first introduced, and because they received their first loss, they now dropped to 1490. If we run this program again, we will see that under view rankings, we can now see the Dolphins. And there they are, right at that number 9 spot, tied with other teams that also have 1490 as an ELO score. Some ways that this program could be improved would be a better layout. We can see, especially here, that even if those were just aligned better towards the edge, or just overall a more colorful and user-friendly looking screen. As I mentioned previously, a better sort function would decrease that wait time when accessing the rankings. Another helpful feature would be the option to view all past results of matches and specific matches, like when, for example, the Dolphins played the Cheetahs, and just to see that specific score instead of just the ELO scores that are created based off of that, but you don't have the option to see those specific scores. Another helpful tool here would be another big improvement, if it could be stored as an app on a phone that wouldn't need to be accessed through the web. This would be especially helpful if it could be used on a smartwatch so that it's more accessible while playing rather than having to have the smartphone. These modifications would be rather easy to make because of the way this program is broken up into separate functions. These functions are often different screen displays or just small pieces of the code, like determining the random server and that type of thing. The function names are all very descriptive to their purpose, so it'd be easy to find where these modifications would need to be made. The straightforward variable names are also helpful with this because they're very descriptive of what they are used to store, so there should not be any confusion when modifying this program over what a variable means or what a function does.